Collective efforts are being made by the state, international and local non-governmental organizations to address the situation of girl-child education in the Adamawa region.
Avec toutes les filles, Adamawa en général et particulièrement en Gaoundéré, vraiment, que les filles partent à l'école. Les filles font tout comme il faut, vraiment.
Girls and women make up half of the total population of the Adamawa region. The overall literacy rate of the region cannot be significantly increased without expanding access to education for the girl child. This is a responsibility for us all, to implement a universal right, the right to education for all.
Thank you immensely, Rikiatu, for that report. A reminder that education can happen against all odds. And Aehsatou is showing us that it is possible to give people what you didn't have. As long as you identify that there is an importance and you are able to make that difference, go for it. And she's been such a blessing to her community. Hopefully this story inspires you in your little way to contribute to a change that maybe you didn't get the opportunity to experience, but you see that someone else needs it. You give it. And it's beautiful to see when women give to each other, when women support each other. It always warms my heart, and we've been talking about it throughout this month of March. We've been highlighting that because, yes, Women's Day is this month, but women exist every single month, and we have to work together so we can grow together and we can be empowered together. And our next guests are going to talk about that, and especially a group that many people do not understand, Indigenous community, especially Indigenous women, how they live their lives, how they survive difficulties. We'll have that conversation here, and please do join us as we meet the Secretary General of the African Indigenous Women Organization, Aehsatou Manu. You're welcome to Cameroon Feeling.
Thank you very much.
I love your dress and the color. I love it. Thank you. Okay, right next to you we have Yasmin Yakubu, who is a journalist by experience and also a business lady. You're welcome.
Welcome. Good morning, Kesha.
You ladies are looking stunning this morning. First off, I have to put it that way. But then I also know that it's the period of Ramadan. How do you go through it? Maybe you enlighten us. How does your day, typical day, look like? Let's start with you, Aehsatou.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for hosting us.
You're welcome.
As a Muslim woman, I woke up at 4 because during fasting you have to get up at 4 to take maybe some water for people who cannot eat food, and maybe coffee for those who take something light. And after that, I do my prayers, I read the Quran, and then I prepare for work. I leave the house by 8:30, and I'm in the office till 4:30 p.m., where I have to go back home and then prepare my food for the evening. And then at 6:30, I do my 6:30 prayers, and then I break my Ramadan for the day. So basically that's the day.
That's your day.
Aehsatou Manu during Ramadan.
Okay, what about you, Yasmin? What are the most difficult parts of this period for you?
Okay, given that I'm just at home, I don't have much to do, I'm not working.
Yes.
So when I get up at 4, I make food for everyone to eat. So after eating, I will recite the Quran until the prayer time. When I pray, I prepare for kids going to school. When they leave, I will like sleep a little bit.
Rest and catch up with that sleep a little bit. Yes.
So after sleeping, I will get up again. I read the Quran. When it's time to pray in the afternoon, I will pray. From there, I will get back to the kitchen to make everything set for the evening.
Okay. Now that's a typical day. I just see you ladies saying it so normally. There's no difficulty, no challenge, because you've done it for a long time. But we're here to talk about Indigenous women, particularly in Cameroon, how you deal with their issues, how you empower them in particular, and how you have been empowered as one. For those who are just joining us, Aehsatou empowers Indigenous women and girls through income-generating activities and encourages acquisition of new skills to reduce poverty. So it's just perfectly in line with the theme of this year's Women's Day. But first off, we have to know your story. How was it like growing up? Where are you from? A little bit of your story.
Thank you for that wonderful question. I'm always happy when they ask me that question because I have a story to tell.
Okay.
So I'm Aehsatou Manu. I'm from the Northwest region, where I grew up in Boya, in the Southwest region of Cameroon. And growing up, I had a lot of difficulties because being the first Buru girl to go to secondary school within that area, I was obliged to have an authorization from the governor's office in order for me to pursue education and not cut off my hair as a girl.
Yes.
Which is to us a culture that a girl should not cut down the hair if you are a Muslim. So within that, I faced a lot of challenges. I had to go with that paper everywhere. Like in the morning, going to school, I have to put that in my bag. And then when I reached the school, the discipline master will always call on me during assembly to say, hey, you, this Mororo girl, come in front. Why do you think you're special? So I'll cry. Wow. And then my classmates will support me and say, don't mind her, don't mind, she's wicked, when we're still very young. So with all of that, I will go back home, I'll cry, my father and my mother will support me and say, no, you have to go to school. And then growing up again, I saw how my mother would go to the hospital and have challenges expressing herself with the doctors and maybe other people around her.
Why was that?
Because she did not have the chance to be educated like me. But my father was literate, so he supported us. My mother encouraged me. My mother was helping me back home with my homework, even though she did not go to school like any other person. And when I reached the university, I still have another discrimination that I faced. And that was with somebody who we will call an intellectual. A renowned professor came into a hall where we were having a youth forum, we were having a training, and he was there to train us on peace building. And suddenly he said, oh, I'm surprised to see these 2 Mororo girls in this hall.
He said that?
Yes. And I was like, no, I can't allow this to continue. I've been traumatized when I was young, but today I can speak for myself.
That's someone who came to teach on peace building.
Yeah. So I was like, sir, you can't say this. You can't call yourself a marginalized person and you marginalize another marginalized person. So this can happen. My colleagues had to hold me and I told them, no, enough is enough. Let me speak out because we cannot continue encouraging wrong things in our country. We are all citizens of this country. We all have the same rights. And when I was growing up, because of all the discrimination, I decided to do law in school, to correct the wrongs of my people, to speak for them, to make sure that their rights are being respected and equally considered as human and, full citizens of this nation. So that pushed me to what I am doing today.
Absolutely.
And I will say that with all the frustration, with everything, I had people who supported me, and thanks to those people, I am today, and I'm proud to be called a Mororo Indigenous woman.
That is beautiful. The stones that were thrown at you, you use them to build a house, to invite other people to be secure, and that's just how we have to look at the issues we're faced with. But then, what are some of the challenges you've identified that Mororo women are faced with?
So, Indigenous people have their own way of life, which is unique, and they are attached to their environment and the land and natural resources that they belong to. So for the Pygmy and Mororo woman, we face a lot of marginalization, discrimination, gender-based violence, harassments. We also face rejection, and there's also the problem of poverty that women face, and then the access to health services are very limited to these women. And also, we can say that women, are denied. They deny them the right to own lands, for example.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and then the issue of participating in decision-making arenas is a very big problem within these communities. And women are really discriminated because, first of all, they are not educated, and for the few who are educated, they don't have the chance, to be in those spaces and take decisions where they are supposed to be. And so we are working towards that to ensure that women have a say.
How do you do so? In which sectors have you addressed?
We have, especially education, we emphasized on educating the young girls because as IWOCAN, we thought the young girl education should be the priority. So for example, we have 100 girls in school. Within the East and Adamawa regions where we have the Baka children and the Buru girls who are in schools. We take care of everything that concerns their school. We make sure that we empower women economically because we believe that if a woman is financially autonomous, she can contribute and have a say in the community as well, because when you have a little income, you can also contribute, and your status, you may be recognized by the men as well. But when you don't have that financial power, the men will not look at you as somebody who is, having value and who can say something. So we do all those things. We sensitize the men as well to make sure that they understand the rights and the responsibilities, and make sure that they support the women, because it's not just allowing them to do the business. There is one thing in our community: women are not allowed to go out freely. So we have to convince the men to allow them exercise these businesses, go out to, carry out these activities. So we have been working, advocating and lobbying.
And you're seeing a difference?
We are really seeing the difference. For example, in the North region, in Adamawa, for example, in Meiganga, in one village where we call Juzami, women, before we came there, women were not able to come together because they never knew it was important. They don't even know why it has to be like that. So we came in, we sensitized them, we educated them, and today they have a women group. They are generating income from that, and they are making a lot of money. Businesses are growing, and we are so happy with that. And they can speak today. We have women in decision-making arenas within those communities now, because we lobby the men and they have been involved in the community decision-making arenas. So that is something positive.
That is a lot, and we're applauding you all. And we're also applauding the men who have accepted this change, because it's one thing to talk about it, and it's another to embrace it, see the necessity, and support the women. That's how women get empowered. Yasmin, I noticed that you were nodding the whole time, because it's like she's sharing part of your story.
She's like saying everything in my mind.
Right? Really. Maybe we get to know a little bit about your story. How was it like growing up, and how did you get to become a businesswoman?
Okay. First of all, Yakubu Yasmin. I'm from the Northwest. I school in Bamenda. So in Bamenda, I was in Lower Seat. It was like, okay, school was going on smoothly, no problem. Though I had difficulties in school, like, they used to say, Moro Pikin. They used to say, you feel bad.
They
especially
make
when
it as if your identity is an insult.
Yeah.
Yes.
They used to say, Moro Pikin di do it. So it disturbs, like you feel uncomfortable, embarrassed among your friends. So from there was nothing serious. Since I was like, I don't care, I used to keep them behind. So they discovered that it does not even disturb me. So they stopped disturbing me. As I was going to school, it was moving on smoothly, but as I was in Lower Seat, I lost my dad. So from there, it was very difficult to continue school since sponsor, that kind of a thing.
Financial difficulties.
Yeah. So I tried to see what I can do, one or two things. I had A levels. So I traveled to Douala to see what